This is Black Views. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Black Views, FBA, Foundational Black Americans. Foundational Black Americans. Black Commentary, B1. Yes, yes, yes. All day, all motherfucking night. FBA. And I know y'all don't like it. It's some of y'all don't like it, and that's your problem. That is your problem, player. All right, dude. Let's get right to it. I ain't even gonna play around. So today, I'm going to be talking about the 4 mayors that went to Washington, D.C. to testify before the House Oversight Committee. This was on, March 5th, 2025. So this was yesterday. Eric Adams, Brandon Johnson, Michelle Wu, and Michael Johnston showed up in Washington to testify. These are the 4 mayors. Eric Adams from New York, Brandon Johnston from Chicago, Michelle Wu from Boston, and Mike Johnston from Denver. The hearing focused on implications of sanctuary city policies on public safety and federal immigration enforcement. During this session, these mayors defended their cities. And I also am going to tell you why these 4 mayors, the reason for their selections, because they had high profile sanctuary cities. All 4 cities had declared themselves sanctuary cities, meaning they do not fully cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement. I mean, that's what I'm saying, brother. A city that says we're not going to do this. Okay, we're not going to do this for illegals. All right, when each one of these cities already have a black population that basically needs assistance. All right. Let's see. Federal and state policy conflicts, public safety and crime concerns, political and media attention. So pretty much these were the reasons for their selections, because pretty much they probably said the most and were the most controversial, and there probably were some things that went down in the news that affected their particular areas. Okay, so there are more sanctuary cities than this, but these are the top 4. So I'm not going to take too much time talking. Let's go ahead and get into the material.
Because I thought you might do this. And when I hear you...
And for brevity here, I'm going to move up to the proper location in here so we can get it cranking. And this is fair use, fair use.
Love y'all, and let's just get into the crazy activity from today.
Chair Ricky, now is Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All of the mayors here today are actively working to harm the American people you represent. You all have blood on your hands. I'm going to ask a series of yes or no questions today, and I would like to remind all of you, you are under oath. I only want a yes or a no to my questions. My first question, do you acknowledge breaking into our country as a crime? Mayor Adams, yes or no?
All simple questions.
Do you acknowledge breaking into our country as a crime?
I acknowledge.
Yes or no?
I acknowledge.
Okay, Honorable Johnson, he's not going to answer the question. Yes or no? Is breaking into our country against
simple
the law?
questions.
Yes or no?
That's how you cross the border.
Okay, Mayor Johnson,
status.
yes or no?
Comprehensive immigration
that's not an
reform
answer.
policies
Mayor
are what's
Wu?
necessary.
Another
Mayor Wu,
BS
do you have
answer.
a better answer than these gentlemen before you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, do you believe it's acceptable for illegals who commit heinous crimes be released back into the public instead of being detained and deported? Mayor Adams, yes or no?
Anyone break a crime.
Yes or no? This is not hard. Yes or no?
Anyone that break a crime should be detained.
Okay, Mayor.
Anyone that
Yes or
break a
no?
crime.
They should be deported.
Okay, Mayor.
Any individual that
Yes or no?
causes harm
Yes or
and
no?
breaks
Okay,
the law
Mayor Wu?
should be held accountable.
This is why you have 6% approval rating, because you suck at answering questions. Mayor Wu?
Wow.
Yes or no?
Anyone who's a public safety threat should be prosecuted.
All right, I have my next question. When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history?
And remember, it took a lot for us to get to this. So for these mayors to be asked in this way, yeah, it came out like this because there were a lot of activities, a lot of crimes that were reported, a lot of things made national headlines. And so they had enough time to correct this, but they still decided to go along. And it seems like they just go along with their own agenda. They didn't follow the law, you know. Like I said, there are black people in each one of those cities where crime may be high and they need assistance. Why wouldn't you put money into that?
Mayor Adams, yes or no?
Can we say that question again?
Okay, Mayor Johnston. When a legal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history? Yes or no?
I will charge and prosecute them.
Yes or no? Okay, well, okay. You said you would go to jail, didn't you?
I will
For
charge and
harboring illegal
prosecute
aliens or
anyone.
something, Mayor Johnson?
Could you repeat your question, please?
When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history?
Could you clarify that question?
Okay, Mayor Wu, yes or no?
No, rape is obviously
Then
horrible.
why are you letting rapists back out onto the streets of Boston?
That is not true. That is
Okay.
not what's happening in
When
Boston.
an illegal alien molests a kid, molests an underage kid, do you pat yourself on the back for being compassionate? Mayor Adams?
They're saying they don't like these things. They're saying that these things are wrong, but this is what's happening in their cities, and it's affecting citizens. So it kind of tells me there's a disconnect.
It's despicable, and he should be arrested.
Mayor Johnston?
I prosecute folks that commit crimes like that.
You guys let them out on the streets. Mayor Johnson?
We arrest violent criminals in the city of Chicago.
Mayor Wu?
We investigate, arrest, and prosecute.
You guys don't sound very confident today.
I mean, it just sounds like something that should be done, but it's not being done because they wouldn't be before the oversight committee asking these questions. So, you know, young people, we are always taught to think that these were intelligent people, that these people were the brightest. These were the best people out here that had common sense and could affect you. But you have to understand there are people that are basically ruling the government that do not understand their jobs. And if they do understand their jobs, it does not reflect in their decisions.
Would your city honor and Adams? Yes or no?
In conformance with law, we will honor detainers.
Mayor Johnson?
If there's a criminal warrant, we'll help them pick them up. If there's no criminal warrant, we'll honor a notification request.
Sounds like everybody's doing their jobs, right? Oh, so much bull.
Mayor Johnson?
Criminal warrants, we always cooperate with federal agents with a criminal warrant.
Mayor Wu?
Get a criminal warrant, we will enforce.
A criminal warrant. I'm talking about an ICE detainer on an individual who's here illegal who rapes kids. Do you all hate Donald Trump more than you love your country, Mayor Adams?
I think this is like the real question right here. Do their actions show that they have more contempt for Donald Trump than they do for actually really doing their job. It's like they want to show defiance before someone, and they keep using words like king. There's no king here. There's no. It's like he was elected by the people. This is your Democratic Party. And then some of you niggas out here want to sit here and try to stick up for this. And at the end of the day, I always say the only thing the Democrats had to offer was gay rights and immigration. So what black person am I having an argument with about this? I don't understand. There's nothing in the bag for us. I mean, I am a foundational Black American. Do I have a right as a foundational Black American to even ask and wonder?
I respect my president. I respect my
Yes or
country,
no?
and I
You're having the
respect
hardest time
my
today.
Senate.
Mayor Johnston?
I love my country.
Yes or no?
I love my
Okay.
country.
Mayor Johnson?
As the son of a pastor, I love everyone.
And that is the problem. You love everyone. And it doesn't make sense because God even says in the scriptures he doesn't love everyone. He doesn't love everyone. But he'll sit there and say he loves everyone. Everyone but his own. How is it that all that money you spent on immigration, you couldn't bust it loose and spend it on Old Block to make sure that it's beautification project that was in place? Who is the representative for that little area of Chicago? I don't know who it is, but I don't care if the kids come out and fuck it up every day. From what I've seen, with these immigrants being here and that U.S. aid that's going overseas, I don't care. There should be money pumped into beautifying these areas here, subsidized rent, have put programs in them neighborhoods to get young men back on the track of learning. Because see, some of them are past the age of high school age, but they still need to learn. There's not one point in your life where you don't need to learn. So there needs to be programs, all type of bullshit put into black communities to get kids off the street and find a way to build jobs. You see them jobs right there, Trump talking about, like Apple, all that shit. Yeah. Somebody invent a motherfucking way to pump some money into the neighborhood and give kids, all those kids that want to start their own businesses and stay and sell. I don't care if they selling tennis shoes, jeans. I don't care what. Yeah. Give them that same plan you give them immigrants that come here that say they on asylum and they get to start a business to get their life right. Do it for them. That's right. And guess what? Here's your mayor, Chicago. He has no initiative out there.
And this country.
Mayor Will,
I love my country and my city.
do you all,
Why aren't they wasting money in those? Hey, I don't have to say FBA. I don't even have to say black people. And those zip codes and area codes where you know that there are more kids that are going to jail, there are more kids that are committing crimes, there are more single family homes. You understand what I'm saying? When I say single family homes, I'm talking about, I shouldn't have said single family homes, but you have single families where you have just a mother in the house and not a father. Okay? And it's more leaned towards the mother than not a father. Okay? Trump talking about taking away Section 8. What does that do? That makes somebody think, I got to think before I have a child now because ain't no place to go. Or if you have a child, I don't have options to leave the father and just put him on child support and just do all these things to him. I have to work it out with him because there is no sanctuary for me.
are you all willing to go to jail for violating federal law? Mayor Adams?
I'm not going to violate federal law, so I don't have to worry about that.
Mayor Johnston?
We don't violate federal law either.
You don't violate federal law.
We do not violate federal law.
Is it violating federal law?
It's like there is so much hypocrites. You're sitting there and you're violating laws, but then in their mind, they want us to believe that because they don't think they doing it, then we shouldn't hold them responsible. What type of world is this? Like I say, when I hear things like this is white people right here. I'm white and I say so. Black people can't get away with this. And the problem is when black people get in charge of shit, they seem to think they have the same. No, it doesn't work that way.
If you don't honor detainer requests from ICE?
Absolutely not. In fact, the statute Congressman Biggs shared, we explicitly follow. The statute says you cannot prohibit city employees from sharing information about someone's status with the government. We do not prohibit that.
Do you love illegal aliens more than you love your fellow countrymen?
I love all the residents of the city and county.
Mayor Johnston, are you willing to go to jail for violating federal law?
The city of Chicago complies with all laws.
Oh, I highly doubt that. Mayor Will?
You see how he just says that? Like, that is a straight up lie. You're sitting before the oversight committee and you just say that shit. Like we're all in a bubble and shit. No, you're in a bubble. And we're all like, I don't know.
We are not violating federal law.
Mayor Wu, I have a last couple questions for you. Do you believe that ICE arresting a child rapist, quote, threatens everyone's safety, end quote? Yes or no?
No.
Does ICE arresting a murderous MS-13 gang member threaten everyone's safety? Yes or no?
No.
Listen to this.
I would like to hold up this quote of you where you say, ICE's efforts actually threaten the safety of everyone, end quote, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu. You're a hypocrite. Thank you.
I'm telling you, politicians are liars, straight up liars. They are in a profession where basically lying is not lying at the highest levels. It's all about perception. It's all about what they thought. What they thought. Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Chair recognizes
Mr. Chairman, I have unanimous consent
Subramaniam.
request. Mr. Chairman.
And by the way, I love these questions. And you're about to hear, what's her name? Arissa Presley get up here. I don't even know her name. Arissa. It doesn't even matter because she doesn't do the work of for the people. All right. And then you see the mayor of Boston's face light up. The Democratic mayor is gonna light up because she knows Presley's gonna come in with some shit. Just try to start some shit. Let's go.
Have unanimous consent.
Proceed.
I'd like to seek unanimous consent to enter into the record this article, and I'll do that.
And understand, these people, when they get up here and they talk, they're talking based on their own feelings. How she feels inside her heart. How, not the law, not the regulations, not the laws, the processes that people have put in place to maintain order. It's her personal feelings in her heart because she feels, remember, it's 350 million Americans, but she feels in her heart that it's not about the people. And that's the problem. And that's why I don't understand. She's from Boston. And guess what? I'm not going to talk shit about Boston because guess what? Me too. Shout out to Boston, by the way. Shout out to Boston. They keep, they're always in the NBA thing, and Wizards are not. But anyways, it's the same thing in DC. I don't understand. I'll say us. Who is voting for these motherfuckers? I truly believe that the elections are rigged, man. Like something's not right. Because we can sit here, we can look at this lady, and we can tell you she ain't about shit. I seriously believe that they're just people that go off of optics. Just seeing a black woman here and she's screaming, we're gonna look and see what she's talking about, but she ain't talking about nothing for you, man. Trust me.
This as a survivor of sexual violence myself. This is from Courts, March 2018.
Without objection, so ordered.
Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born...
Without objection, so ordered. We've put it in the record.
I haven't entered it.
You have what?
Mr. Chair, can I...
And see, what I love about this is because we're in a new time now. No one's sitting here listening to this shit. Like, you're not talking about nothing. What she's trying to do is basically say that America's is no more safe than if we get illegal rapists off the streets than American-born rapists on the streets. You see, and this is the bullshit. This is the same thing that every time black people need attention, there's always some other thing going on that takes away from what's supposed to be done. And instead of us talking to the mayor about her decisions about all the people in her jurisdiction, here's a representative from Boston that's going to try to throw in a wrench talking about Americans that rape versus immigrants that rape.
I have several articles. I need to enter them. Let me just go ahead with what the articles are. What they speak to.
What's the next article?
Let me proceed. Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born Americans commit more rape and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this trend of you all trying to get thrown out of committee so you can get on MSNBC.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
Put up with it.
This is my procedural right as a member of this committee.
You can go.
Who's voting for these people, bro? Who is voting for them? I seriously think that after this, their terms of that's it. I truly believe I have to say Democrats. Nobody listen to this crap, Joe. Like no one else are doing these tricks right now. I have to say it. I gotta call it like I see it. You understand what I'm saying? And what I'm trying to tell you, these are blackface. There's just people that sit there to be black and look black, but don't have anything competent to say or anything talking about black issues. Okay, and then they go against everything that makes sense. That's what tells me. Okay, this is my personal belief. All right, it's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. I think Democrat is the party for for gay people. You know what I'm saying? People that that want to have that want more than ever now since the president made these laws. So more than ever now, they're going to be the party for the people that want to change their identities, all type of things. It's just going to be clumped up in there because those are going to be the people that are going to listen to that. You're going to have immigrants in there because what the immigrants want to do? The immigrants want to, they need free shit. They need programs. They need money. U.S. aid. See that's why when Trump came to shut that shit down, suddenly there was a judge saying, "Oh no, we can't do that." Why? Because that's the money that funds all the fuckery. All that money that's missing, we don't know. I mean, think about it. All that money and shit is just, 2 million for sex changes here, 8 million for sex changes over there. I mean, I don't understand. All that money collectively. I know I'm talking about foundational black Americans and black cities. But hey, guess what? I'm not so naive to know that there are white people that are hurting too, that live in trailer parks and shit like that. It's just that white people so selfish, they don't really talk about them. You see what I'm saying? They don't talk. They try to act like they don't exist or something. It's just black people that run around here that need shit, that need assistance. You know what I'm saying? Like they just try to make it seem like it's just us all the time. And we're the least amount of people. All right, we are the least amount of people, and they're so concerned about what we do day in and day out. But what hurts me the most is that and when black people do get an opportunity to get on TV, this is who you get. And you be like, what the fuck is that? That is, I mean, she's not even talking about any black issues. It's just about her personal feelings. You see what I'm saying? Like it's her and her personal feelings. So I truly believe going forward, the Democrats are done, bro, as far as black vote. I'm saying, they're always gonna have other people that's going to sympathize with getting free shit and being able to come over, just to get over here and shit. You understand what I'm saying? Just to get over here, get a head up, get a loan for a business. All the people that want free shit, that's part of that USA thing and all that. Yeah, that's Democrats, man. And all they did was proxy black people, and they're gonna mention us, but they're gonna mention us when they talk about civil rights. When they talk about equal rights, they're gonna mention us, and then they're gonna go right into some gay shit. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna go right into some gay shit. That's what that whole shit is about. The equal rights, all these committees, all these names that you hear that sound so honorable, like the Equal Rights Committee and all that. This shit ain't got nothing to do with black people. Remember, people get mad because I'll speak on the issue of black people going from slavery to now and still getting kicked in the ass. But because I talk about the issues that affect us the most, they don't want to hear that. They just want to hear me talk about, the crime and why the father not in the house. I'm telling you why. All these systematic things that were done that get us to where we are right now is due to basically just serving and helping other issues. Our families broke down. You're right. So when you hear like some of these other black people that talk and they talk about the black unit, it ain't got nothing to do with racism. It's just the black unit. That's once again him giving an outlet for white people to make white people feel good. They shouldn't feel good about a motherfucking thing. You setting up over here, you come over here, and then you got the new whites. You got the people that come over here, right? They don't know anything about American history. They can care less. They want to come here to prosper. So, they want to get into your business and what you doing all day and what songs you singing and why black people shooting down in there, and they don't have no history on black history. You see what I'm saying? On foundational Black American history. So let's get to it. My bad. I ain't mean to write that long, but it happens.
You
can go with
Mr.
Mr. Frost and Mr. Green.
I'm reclaiming my time.
That's
you
what
do
you
not
want.
Get to
No. Ms. Presley,
how
I've been
I
very,
recite the
I have
articles
been
for
very
the
accommodating
record.
to you. Mr. Superjohn,
And I
start
take
the
particular
clock.
umbrage
Start
as a
the clock.
survivor
No, I
of
don't.
sexual violence.
Go.
I will
Look,
insert
shit, it ain't nothing good for
This
Black
is
people.
my
It's just her
rights.
personal feelings.
Thank you.
No. It is Mr. Superjohn.
Mr. Chair,
No, you know the process of unanimous consent. You are not
I have
recognized.
several articles to enter into the record.
Mr. Superjohn, if you don't go, we're going to recognize Mr. Timmons. Chair recognizes Mr. Donalds from Florida.
See, and what you saw there was basically it's a formation. Okay, it's a certain way things are done in those type of meetings and committees. They have some of them use Robert's law. You know, they have different type of processes how they go about shit. And some people don't want to follow the process. And so instead of like they'll sit there and make the chairman look like he's just a white man that's evil and mean, shutting her down. And he could be white, evil, and mean. I don't know. But in this is process of how the processes go in these type of committees. Okay, so that's why you hear these stuff about this person turned, that person turned, because there's a format. That's the way stuff go. And if you don't follow the right format, he could tell you, no, that's not how it go, and you supposed to know. Maybe she doesn't understand the process. So let's move forward.
Thank you, Chairman. This is my third term on the Oversight Committee. We've been talking about illegal immigration and oversight the entire time. I remember we had a group of this committee that went down to the El Paso section of the border. This was back in February, March of 2021. And during that time period, we were at one of the holding centers, and there were these buses that were coming to the detention facility, and they were picking up 30 kids, 50 kids at random, walking out of the facility. And when I went over to question the bus driver that was transporting these kids, border agents told me, as a member of Congress, that you're not allowed to question the bus driver. And of course, people knowing me, I didn't take no for an answer, and I repeated the question. And I was told that this bus of children was leaving El Paso and going to San Diego. And so what was occurring under the Biden administration is that they were busing unaccompanied minors all across the United States for one reason and one reason only. And that was because they did not want the press to see the pictures of kids in cages. They did not want to see our borders being overrun. They wanted to disperse that problem all through the United States. That is the reckless history of illegal immigration under Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. Mayor Johnston of Denver, you lamented earlier that there were 10 to 11 buses coming per day to your city. Did you ever talk to Joe Biden about why this was happening to your community?
Thank you, Congressman. I both reached out to Governor Abbott from Texas. He didn't respond, and I did.
Why would you reach out to Governor Abbott of Texas when it is Joe Biden, the former commander-in-chief, that opened up our borders? Why didn't you talk to him?
Well, our buses directly were being sent from Governor Abbott in Texas, so that was why we reached out to say we're happy to collaborate on a coordinated entry system. We understand no one state or no one city should bear the entire brunt of this, but let's collaborate. But I did.
So I'm glad you said that, because that brings me to my next point. Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis, when they started moving illegal aliens out of their states who were bearing the brunt of what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were doing, and they've sent them to Denver, they sent them to Chicago, they sent them to New York, they sent them to Martha's Vineyard. The reason why they did that is because you four could hide behind the realities of illegal immigration on border towns all through our country and on cities and states who did not want to see illegal immigration, but did not have the political representation to go to the White House. And only when it showed up on your doorstep did you get upset. Mayor Johnston, coming back to you, how much did your city spend on illegal immigration? Do you have a round number?
Over the last couple of years on all newcomers, whatever their status was, it's around $79 million since 2022.
$79 million. Now, I'm always going to remember I'm FBA. So when I hear things like this, I'm always going to talk about what's going on with FBA. So if you're white or from any other group and you hear me talk about this and not talk about you, I'm not here to talk about you. So I apologize. I'm not here to offend you, but this not about you. Okay. So when I hear 79 million, how many of those, how many, I mean, you spent 79 million. This Denver, he's a Denver mayor. Okay, so we talking about the residents of Denver, right? We're not talking about, and I don't know the percentage of white to black in Denver, but I know there's a hood somewhere in Denver. And you spent 79 million on illegals that came. How much did you put on that bread for the black people in Denver, in those communities? I don't know. But this is my concern. And none of the representatives there are talking about that. Let's go.
9 million. Mayor Johnson, Chicago. How much has the city of Chicago spent on illegal immigration?
If you're referring to the 2022 up to 2024
Hey, this motherfucker, man.
of the buses coming from Texas, roughly the same percentage of the state of Texas, about 1% of our overall budget.
What is that? Because we don't have the city's budget in front of me. Numbers.
It's 1%, and if you want the actual calculation, we can make sure someone...
You're the mayor. You don't have...
You see what I'm saying? This is, and I know people might not like my language, but this is what I call fuck shit. This is fuck shit because you came to the oversight committee with no numbers. You're the head of that city. You have no numbers so that we can have some type of visual, a hard number. He ain't even talking about an exact number. You could have lied less 1 or 2 billion. They'll give you a little bit, maybe not 1 or 2 billion, but they give you a little space with maybe 100, 200,000 or something. But you don't have a hard line number. You don't. And this is what I'm talking about. A black face, a black person. This who we see that goes to represent black people. And what do you think the rest of the world thinks? This is why they can run a game on a motherfucker like that and just let a whole bunch of people come through there and just do what they want to do. And then when it's time for him to answer to it, he don't even come with the numbers. How was that possible? You never saw you didn't see the numbers all last year or this year. So you can't even estimate on what you think. And that's why they're calling him a poor mayor. People are going to say they're being mean, but you're playing with people's lives. This is not about your personal feelings. You are an administrator. An administrator. Your job is so that things function, processes in a city to have order. But you don't know. You're telling us we don't know the numbers. So either you don't know the numbers or you're falsely representing. You're coming here and basically you're just trying to get through the day. And that's a problem. That is really a problem. And I know every black person it ain't every black person. I know that for a fact. But I'm just saying, you're going to hear the undertow of, oh, they did to that brother. Oh, they did. Nah, man. Come on. You got to hold him accountable.
The math in front of you.
It's 1% of the overall budget over the last 4 years.
That's why you're a failing mayor.
Which is
Mayor
the same
Adams,
number that was sent from us from the state of Texas.
How much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration? Mayor Johnson, I already asked you. You don't have a hard number. And if you don't have a hard number, you're not running your city well. Mayor Adams, how much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration?
6.9 billion of taxpayers' dollars.
6.9 billion. Billion. 6.9 billion on immigration. Now I'm gonna tell you back, New York. As far as me growing up, I had cousins that lived in New York. I remember New York back then. At that time, it was, it had a large percentage of immigrants, and it was known to be, immigrants in New York. But to the point that we have it now, where it was just, over to the point where they were in hotels, where other people were getting money. And you trying to tell me you don't have that 6.9 billion to fight crime and in your communities? You don't have. That's why I'm saying Democrats shouldn't be running shit. I'm sorry. I've seen enough. I've been watching Democrats for a long time. My father was a Democrat, and my mother was, my grandmother was. And you know, when I see this now, I understand because they didn't pay attention to anything. They were told, programmed, and told that these people were looking out for them because they look like us. And that's the point I'm trying to get over to you. Black people are the most loyal, foundational Black Americans, are the most loyal people there is. To the point, we so ride or die that if you look like us, we thinking you down for us because we down for you. And as you can see, as far, it's not what's going on.
$9 billion of taxpayer money on a problem that was fostered on the American people. Mayor Wu, in the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city
You don't
services,
ask
so
about
we
how
don't
much
have
money
that
the city
number.
of Boston has spent on illegal immigration?
We
Are you
don't
out of your
distinguish
mind?
between immigration status.
So basically, what this woman is saying is that all the money they spent, she takes it as we spent on residents. So she can't differentiate between how much money was spent on illegal aliens and how much money is spent on residents. And she tries to, if you listen to her, she tries to make it sound like this is what Boston is for. I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't live in Boston. I don't know. But she's like, tell me if that's not thievery. Where you taking money from taxpayers and people that have been here, that's born here, especially up in Boston. That's supposed to be the Patriot city. But I mean, I don't know. Let's go.
You manage your budget or not, Mayor Wu?
That is how we.
Who voted for her? That's why I keep saying these elections must be rigged. Who voted for these people? And some of these people be having. Well, now what I think they're doing is now they're switching them off. They're not. They can't sustain like incumbent. You know what I'm saying? They can't sustain over and over being that politician or having that many terms. That's what I meant to say. They can't sustain consecutive terms. They can't sustain it no more because people are looking at it. That's crazy. So now they're having these people switch up, and each one is popping in with some new idea how they trying to do something good. When Black people hear it, they're listening to that as, oh man, we're gonna get opportunities. We're gonna get DEI. Oh man, diversity, inclusion, making it think like, yeah, oh man, we get an opportunity, and it's never been for us. I maybe the first time they said that shit, we were like, oh okay, and then but then we started to see we're never. Most of the time, that DEI refers to corporate. Okay, we're not talking about people that work over there at Chick-fil-A. We ain't talking about. I mean, you can see, we're not even talking about the employees at Walmart, Kmart, Target, all that shit. Nobody's talking about that. You're talking about when you get in corporate, when you start getting managerial, and you start getting in these roles where you have executives, you have managers, you have those type of people. That's the DEI we're talking about. So like when you get in government is a form of corporate, right? You know, people gotta wear a shirt and tie depending on what you do. You see what I'm saying? So like once you become an SEAcer or a director, or when you start getting paid some money, that's when they're talking about DEI. And ain't no Black people doing that. In fact, like I said, with DEI, you might see a Black person in that joint, but it's not enough to say that like overwhelmingly like these people are taking advantage of something, because we're not. We're blatantly not. Right out of high school, a lot of these kids are catching felonies and getting clipped because honestly, I keep it real with you. A lot of them grow up in single family homes and they're influenced by other kids who have bad home life. Okay, mother might work more than one job. I don't know, but if you want public housing, I don't know what working you doing. But anyway, let's keep it moving.
Mayor Wu, do you manage
we
your
have
budget
the
or not?
numbers to prove it. I manage my budget. I have a AAA bond rating dating back 10 years.
So to the city of Boston,
budget.
just understand that your mayor does not care how much of your resources she has spent.
How many residences citizens knew that. I bet you they did not know that this lady was not showing a difference. Like she's basically saying like she has no accountability for taxpayers, American taxpayers.
On people who are not citizens
The city of Boston is sick of having people outside Boston telling us what we
Mr. Bear, I
need.
have a question for you because I understand Cato's perspective when it comes to illegal immigration. I understand that the Cato Institute for a long time has had a standard of actually having open immigration into the United States. Generally speaking, I don't want to get into specifics.
We support legal immigration. We want immigration to be legal.
So let me ask you this question, because one of the great libertarians of the modern era, Milton Friedman, famously said, you can either have open borders or a welfare state, but you have to choose. Mr. Beer, what do you choose?
Milton Friedman said he wanted to allow illegal immigration to continue. I disagree with Milton Friedman's position on that. We should have legal immigration and build a wall around the welfare state, not around the country. That's in the best interest of taxpayers.
And I would argue that under the current system where you have sanctuary...
He said put a wall around the welfare state. Okay.
Cities popping up, it is not possible to build that wall. So America has to choose, Mr. Beer, you're done. America has to choose between securing our nation or protecting the taxpayer. I choose secure the nation. I yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Gill from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing on such an important topic. Mayor Johnson, I want to start with you. One of your first actions as mayor was establishing a deputy mayor for immigrant, migrant, and refugee rights. I want to ask you a series of
a deputy mayor for their rights. Why isn't there a deputy mayor, a deputy president, a deputy anybody, leader? Just for black people, y'all. Just for foundational black Americans. The freedmen. Why we don't have a deputy mayor to just make sure that, you know, our little cut of the pie is cut out for us. That we don't just have just that little lane for us. Why isn't it for us? I'm not talking about Jamaicans. I'm talking about foundational black Americans. I'm not talking about no Caribbean diaspora. I'm not talking about nobody coming from the African diaspora. I'm talking about those foundational black Americans, freedmen. Freedmen. I ain't got to say no more. Freedmen. Our rights were guaranteed by our Constitution. There's no other people that have that. Let's go.
questions. If you could answer with a yes or no answer, that'd be great. First of all, do you support allowing illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses? Just yes or no?
This motherfucker. I'm not even gonna hit pause.
So the city of Chicago has been a welcoming city for over 40 years.
I'll take that as a yes. Next question.
And that's the policy that we will hold to.
Do you support tax dollars subsidizing or paying for the health care of illegal aliens?
I support investments in all residents of the people of Chicago, and that's what I do.
That's a yes as well. Do you support free or reduced college for illegal aliens?
Again, I support the investments of all residents of the people of Chicago.
Do all residents get free college?
Do you support allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections?
Again, I'm not over the jurisdiction of that type of law, but again, I'm committed to investing in all residents of the people of Chicago.
I'll take that as a yes. I've got an article from the Chicago Sun-Times, and I'll quote here briefly. Johnson proposed, among other things, that all residents, regardless of citizenship status, be able to vote.
I'm telling you, when black people hear that shit's like, damn. It's like everybody is getting looked out for. I'm telling you. And see, what happens is all these immigrants in 10 years will be claiming they white, and they'll be the same ones on Twitter talking about they parents came here with nothing. You see what I'm saying? And while your kid is still in that city, not getting a lack of education, not getting a lack of funds in your schools. Like, I mean, think about it. If you just took away, let's say kids, they learn what they learn at home. But if you look at their environment, everywhere they go, nice, clean, respectable. The people there are paid properly to teach these kids. You know what I'm saying? And they are, you know, they worked with. So what? They need extra attention. So what? Throw that money Like you throw it at everything else, not the police. We don't want the police. You could have those big, strong, insane asylum people that work in there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for them rough kids, yeah, we gonna work it out. But throw that money and make everything comfortable for them, like you did for all the immigrants, the illegal aliens, and all the people that in a few years they're going to say that they're white, their kids are going to go to college and take advantage of the free schooling while your kids got charges out of high school, got babies out of high school. You know what I'm saying? They can't take advantage of nothing because they still tripping off their mother fucking up. You see what I'm saying? Because the father wasn't there to whip ass. The father didn't have any order in that house. So because there's no order, it's a bunch of selfishness and a bunch of problems. Let's go.
For Chicago Board of Education members. Next question. Your website states, and this is your campaign website, quote, "I will not stop fighting until abortion access is completely secure for people all over the country," end quote. Yes or no, do you support taxpayer-funded abortions for...
I got to stop there. Do you see how he said that? I will not stop. They won't stop until motherfucker have an abortion. But they never say, I won't stop until every kid from my community graduates from high school. Or if they don't graduate from college, they even got an opportunity, even after 10 years after they become drug addicts and figure out the right path. You know what I'm saying? There's still an opportunity. Do you understand? Opportunities, the same ones you give to everyone else that came here from Afghanistan, people that come here from Ukraine, people that come here from Mexico. We need that money in our neighborhoods. And if you notice, all the black people you see that's complaining and bitching be from black neighborhoods, and the energy is not towards black problems.
Legal aliens.
I support the reproductive rights of all people, all women.
That is a yes as well. Your mayoral transition website mentions support for creating a Chicago Board of Education non-citizen advisory board. Again, yes or no, do you support appointing non-citizens to government advisory boards?
I was invited here today to discuss welcoming cities.
Yes or no?
I was invited here to discuss welcoming cities.
This is a yes or no
If you're
question.
interested in asking me questions about the welcoming city, I'm happy to answer those questions.
No, we're going to...
These mayors are being used as tools for globalism. Globalism meaning that they no longer see like the boundaries of the United States, right? Even though you were born here and you got citizenship or whatever. Well, basically, they kind of like want to throw that shit in trash and make everybody an American citizen. So guess what? When you grew up learning the national anthem and learning my country 'tis, all that bullshit, when you had to learn all that and you had to walk on the right side, and you had to make sure you had enough space between you and the other student, and they showed you how to stand in line, and you had to make sure you had space between you and all that shit goes out the window now. See? Because you're bringing all these foreigners over here now, right? With their own ideals and what they saw on TV. How they were hypnotized to America by what they saw on TV. So they don't have the pedigree, the American pedigree, playing football in high school. You remember all the kids that didn't make the team, but they tried, right? They tried. They tried to make the team and they didn't make the team. They tried next year. See, all that is American. You understand what I'm saying? And then they junior year or they senior year, they were big enough, strong enough. They made the team. Brotherhood, sisterhood. That's part of being American. Do you understand what I'm saying? Having some sort of camaraderie for one another and looking at each other and banding together under certain circumstances. You can't do that with foreigners. I mean, look at Tethers. They come here, bro, and it's like they just see their own lane. It's not a real lane for real. It's like a Mossad that they see. what you call it? A facade. Yeah, it's like a facade. They think it's something that's there. And if they act this way, like they did in their homeland, they'll be able to get there. But it doesn't happen there because in America, you get the true understanding of racism. Nigga, I'm trying to tell you, they're going to use you as far as they can, and then they're going to throw you away. And see, that's what Tethers learn all the time. That them people don't care about you. You know what I'm saying? You coming over here and you kissing their feet and their toes and smelling their farts and shit. Man, listen, bro, you are a fool. Let's go.
On. As you know, President Trump, unlike the previous administration, has taken serious action to bring foreign criminal gangs to justice, to take our border back and to restore public safety in our communities. He designated 8 transnational criminal organizations and cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. These are groups like Tren de Aragua, MS-13, Sinaloa, other of some of the most grotesque and ruthless and brutal organizations in the world. You, as mayor of a sanctuary city, have been virtually giving favors to illegal aliens. Apparently, you support an enormous amount of taxpayer resources going to the.
Imagine if they were given enormous amount of resources to black communities. See, I like using like O Block because that's a particular block. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a lot of blocks in DC. Let's just say Southeast. I'll just say Southeast. But not all Southeast is like that though, because there's some Southeast where they have fucking $1 million homes. Okay, so that's how dynamic it is. Like as far as the Washington D.C. and how the hood can be. You know, you step off the one side and then you're in a war zone. So these areas are not very big. You could have thrown so much money into the places. Oh man, so much. You know, they could have had all types of things reinforcing them after school. Because once you crack down and you take away all the drug game, I already know what they're preparing to do. Like right now, they're cracking on deportation. But as they're cracking down on deportation, they're building up the law enforcement team. Okay, so ICE, all these federal agents, like you know, Trump is getting ready to put a clamp down on DC like you have never seen. So what I'm saying is, are you prepared after you take away all these things that you, and I understand there's nothing wrong with that, but are you prepared to feed the children's minds and their stomachs also as well? Are you prepared to find a pathway for these young people that may be misguided, that may have lived in homes that were toxic? You know what I'm saying? Are you prepared to do that? And you can do that because just like you give $350 billion in Ukraine, man, I don't even think it would take that much to correct the problems that you have, but you need money, you need comfort, and that's how you're gonna correct a situation. Now you're not gonna go hardcore and just come up in here and just lock everybody up, because all you're doing is mass incarceration again. You're just doing the same shit. You just come in here, you're gonna get anybody, and then you're gonna grab people and say this is conspiracy, that's conspiracy, and then you're gonna say the RICO charge, or even people that's not really involved with it, but because like a lot of black people are like 1 or 2 family members from crime. I mean, and that's just because the way things were systematically done to foundational black Americans, you know. But like I said, let's move on.
Them as well, but you yourself have also received a lot of gifts. And for those of you who don't know, Mayor Johnson has a secret gift room that is not given access to the public or for access to the Office of Inspector General. I'd like to ask you a couple questions about that. Do you know everyone who's given you a gift since you became mayor?
The city of Chicago has had a policy for 40 years
yes or no question.
where there are individuals that would like to give gifts to the city.
They don't answer no questions.
And we do not accept those
when
gifts.
Did you become
we
mayor?
receive them on
I'm going to
behalf
reclaim my time
of the city
here.
of Chicago.
You're not going to filibuster here.
They just talk
did you become mayor?
You don't answer no questions.
I was elected mayor of the city of Chicago in April of 2020. 2023, and I was sworn in May
good.
15th
On June
of
12th,
2023.
See, this shit goes unchecked because the Democratic Party, they'll make it look like, they'll look at this and make this look like it's racist, right? Because if you don't understand what they're talking about or understand the situation, you'll just see a white person grilling a black person. And unfortunately, our country made it this way. Our country made it this way so that when you see those type of optics, then that's how you feel in your heart. And so that emotion taps into our decision. Now, what's supposed to be happening is there should be someone educated that is in Congress that should have forewarned the people about the type of shit that you see that go on. But they don't. They all set out on the Democratic side, and that's who, unfortunately, black people were, foundational black Americans, because what you're having is a lot of tethers, a lot of foreigners are latching on to the Democratic Party because of the free benefits they receive. So you got to understand, people use politics to get things that they want, and foundational black Americans have to do the same. Okay, that's what the game everybody's been playing. The only game we've been playing is loyalty. We've been playing the loyalty game. And brothers and sisters, it is nothing wrong with being loyal. We just can't put that in front of our emotions. Our loyalty should be lied into our code. Our decisions based on our experiences, okay? Not on emotions. Because obviously, we can see the people that we have in position. It's hard for me sometimes, and I'm sure that's the question that you will have to argue with, is how you have people that look like you, blackface, in position, aka we would call them the coon, which is equivalent to the tether, right? Because you're undermining your people. Okay, you're not a coon just because you could be a good person. You could be a very good person, very successful person. You know what I'm saying? And your ideology is, I'm worried about me. But you're a representative, okay? You're a representative of the people that selected you through elections to be there. So it can't be about you. So that's what makes you an extra coon. Shit. Okay, let's go on. Let's move forward. But I got to give these definitions out because people, there are shit starters right here, right? Tethers are shit starters. Yes, they are. And what they'll try to do is make every immigrant or every African person the enemy, and they're not, because there's some people that are about, what is right. You know what I'm saying? But what a tether does is he pretty much cosplays as us. Like, he gets up under us and get into our shit and then tries to make decisions about us and do those are tethers, right? They undermine you, right? And that is the difference. So no matter what they say, there's the truth, and then you have shit starters.
June 12th, 2023, you received Hugo Boss cufflinks and a personalized Mont Blanc pin. Do you know who gave you those?
So I did not receive those personally. The city of Chicago
received those on behalf
of
the city
of Chicago. On behalf of the city of Chicago, as every mayor in the history of Chicago who has provided gifts to the city of Chicago.
Do you know who gave those to the city of Chicago?
So again, on behalf of the city of Chicago,
it's a yes or no question.
But I do not accept. Those are not my personal gifts.
You don't know.
Those are the gifts of the city of Chicago,
18th,
and that's why you are aware that they exist, because they are within the law.
Reclaim my time here, sir. On March 18th, 2024, you received a Gucci tote bag. Do you know who gave you that? Gave the city of Chicago that?
Again, I was here and I was invited.
I'll also
to
take
respond
that
to the questions.
He's basically saying I don't have to answer those questions. And that's, once again, it just leads to more deception and lack of trust. And he has 6% approval rate in Chicago, bro. It's on you. You can't blame this on anything else but you, because nobody else agrees with you. You just keep doing this because somebody offered you something. Okay? Somebody offered you something, and this is the favor that you have, because you took it. Whatever they offered you, you took it. And so now you have to pay. And this is how you're paying them back. Because your approval rate is so low, bro. Like, I would feel some kind of way about myself. I would be like, damn, I gotta do better. No, you don't want to do better. You just steady the course. You steady the course. Like you just running the people right off the cliff. You don't care. You just keep going and you just keep saying, yeah, I know, no. Trust me, we're gonna make it.
Around welcoming city, and I'm happy to answer any of those questions.
A Da Vinci bag, a Kate Spade purse, and Carucci shoes. Do you know who gave the city of Chicago those?
Again, I was brought.
I'll take that as a no. I'm reclaiming my time
to respond
here, sir. I am reclaiming my time.
Chicago of
this
what a
raises
welcoming city.
serious
Yeah, he didn't
ethical
answer no
concerns.
questions.
You're providing an enormous amount of aid to illegal aliens, aiding and abetting criminals who have come into our country illegally. And you yourself are receiving an enormous amount of gifts, and you won't even tell us who they're coming from. That raises
time is up.
serious
Yeah, it's
ethical
crazy.
We have a
concerns.
5-minute rule.
Gentlemen's time's
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record the City of Chicago Office of Inspector General advisory concerning gifts accepted on behalf of the city.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Jack from Georgia.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for convening this hearing, and I'd like to begin by offering some thoughts about our colleague from Texas, Congressman Sylvester Turner, who sadly just passed away, as some of you may know. Congressman Turner was a former 2-term mayor of Houston, and as our witnesses can no doubt attest, being the mayor of a big city is not easy.
Yeah, bald head going out there to do an
Turner,
interview.
Was a member of our freshman class, and his office is right next to mine.
So you saw the bald head lady how she left, right? You see, that was her going out there. You know, she gonna go out there and the camera's gonna be in the hallway, and then she's gonna go out there and she's gonna say, the American people, these people are good. Then she's gonna talk about racism. Then what she's gonna take? She's gonna talk about reparations, right? See, she's gonna stay. And notice we haven't heard shit about reparations since that little meeting they had, right? Nobody said nothing. No emails went out. Nobody talked about reparations since then. Nothing. You heard nothing. But she's about to go in the hallway, and the cameras are going to be out there, and she's going to talk to them, and she's going to, she's going to get emotional, and she's going to want us to, like I said, feed into the optics. The black woman is hurt, and she was hurt by the white man. He was so mean. He kept hitting the gavel. He wouldn't let her speak. See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Emotions over formalities, bro. Like you have laws and regulations, and people want to go with their emotions. Now I understand that, due to this country and the negativity that it has brought. Yes, but we can't go. We will stay poor. We will stay unsuccessful if we keep going that route. We have to go with what makes sense. But these are our gatekeepers, okay? Those are your little, some of them are Divine Nine, and they all showing their little signs and shit, signs and signals, and they going out and doing nothing for the people. That's the point that I'm making. That is what I'm talking about today. So let's move on.
Of Houston, and as our witnesses can no doubt attest, being the mayor of a big city is not easy. Congressman Turner was a member of our freshman class, and his office is right next to mine in the Longworth House Office Building, and as such, I had an opportunity to walk with him to and from votes, found him to be an incredible gentleman with respect and courtesy. My colleagues across the aisle, particularly the freshmen, knew Congressman Turner better than I, so I certainly yield to them on this topic, but I wanted to at least mention my own thoughts for the record. Now, to the topic of today's hearing, I prepared for today's hearing by chatting with some of the mayors from my district, from those who represent just a few hundred to those who represent a few thousand, and I found a common theme of frustration. They, along with me and many other constituents I proudly represent in Georgia's 3rd Congressional District, want to know why policies are in place that benefit citizens of other countries at the expense of citizens of our own country. So if I could, Mayor Johnson, I'd like to start with you from Denver. I know Chairman Comer, in his opening line of questioning, discussed an ordinance passed by the Denver City Council in 2017, and I recognize you had just left the state Senate by then.
All right, so for brevity, and I'm just gonna move forward a little bit, and let's see what Mr. Adams is talking about. What kind of bullshit? I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson.
and law enforcement, and that relationship is critical to driving violence down. Under my leadership, violence has gone down in the city of Chicago.
And Mayor Johnson, if I can ask, have you ever disciplined, fired, or arrested law enforcement officers or correction officers if they notified ICE or other federal immigration officers of an illegal criminal alien in lockup or courts in violation of your sanctuary city policies? Have you ever disciplined, fired, or arrested a law enforcement officer that worked with ICE?
That is not, I don't believe that's under the jurisdiction of the mayor. I don't arrest people or.
Are there issued memos in which you direct Chicago officers from not assisting with enforcement in immigration law or helping ICE identify folks who may not be here illegally?
We do have documentation around making sure that the residents of the city of Chicago know their rights. That's important because it builds trust between law enforcement and community. By having that confidence and trust, people are more likely to come forward to report violent crime regardless of their immigration status.
Well, I have to submit to the record, Mr. Chairman, an article from News Nation Now, January 21st, 2025, in which it says Chicago police reminded they cannot cooperate with deportations. And if I may ask, Mayor, are there any memos? Thank you. Are there any memos that direct Chicago police to not cooperate with President Trump's deportation plans?
Well, so local law enforcement, we're not federal agents. So local.
You see what I'm saying? Do you see the bull that's going on? Okay, there are illegal people in your city. And you're saying that you can't have the local police turn the criminal over to the ICE agent so he can take them out of the city. And this is what we did. Like this common sense stuff, right? Like I can't, in my mind, it wouldn't be even an argument to say, okay, this person's here illegally, he broke a crime. Obviously, he broke a crime. He committed a crime. Obviously, he did because he's here in the jail. We have him. Why wouldn't you just make this transition? No, because you want to. If you ask me, maybe he has wishful thinking, but what you're doing is you causing problems because you're putting people back into the cities who are already criminals, right? Now, they're most likely doing this crime to their own because that's what people do. They do crime to their own like everybody else does. So no matter how much they say black on black crime, that's a slogan because it's Hispanic on Hispanic crime. They're white on white crime. Because, I know there's more white people that kill white people than black people that kill white people, okay? There's more Asians that kill Asians than black people kill Asians or white people that kill Asians. There's more black people that kill black people than white people kill black people, than Asians kill black people than anybody else. There's more Hindu that kill Hindu than black people kill Hindu than Asian. See, that's what I'm saying. Just like there's no Hindu people that live around us to kill, there's no white people that live around us to kill. Just like, you have these different listen, we don't clash. The only places we clash is maybe on to and from, using metro or using public transportation, okay? Or in the workplace. How many times do you hear about a black person killing a white person in goddamn at work? I'm not saying these things don't happen and can't happen, but it's happening at such a small rate that is you can't report it. But you're going to keep hearing, these white supremacists talk about black people that are killing white people. And I'm trying to understand, nobody's pinning down a place of where it's happening. They're saying that it's happening everywhere, and I can't tell. Okay? So let's just keep that clear. The people that they're most likely doing crime against, the immigrant, I'm talking about the illegal immigrant that's doing crime, is doing it against himself. And I'm not saying he's not, it hasn't happened when he did it to a white person or he did it to a black person. But 9 times out of 10, most of the crime are against their own people. They're extorting their own people. They're taking advantage. They're having sexual assaults against their own people. Because one guy's probably saying, "Hey, bitch, I know where you from. You from the bushes, just like me. Bitch, give me that ass." You know what I'm saying? They do shit differently over there. Okay, and so, but here it's different. Let's go.
Law enforcement in the city of Chicago, they do not dub as federal agents.
But that having been said, from your mayoral office, have you ever issued memos to the police department instructing them not to cooperate with President Trump?
We remind people of what the welcoming city ordinance entails.
Would you submit to the committee any written?
The welcoming city. That's some bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Like, as a black person, because that's the only person that I could talk about, like, when you hear the welcoming city, it's like, at when were any of these cities ever welcoming to us? And as we go forward into the future, there's a lot of databases that are going to be revealed. I'm talking about video data. I'm talking about audio data from like the 50s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, where racism is going to be revealed at large proportions. Okay, it's going to be a lot of companies, a lot of companies going down, man, for a lot of shit they done did. Like I said before, you know, I ain't worried about reparation because that's going to be paid through litigation. We ain't even got to worry about if somebody going to pay it through their income taxes, if they're going to pay. It's going to be paid because largely America has benefited, and a lot of these companies, corporations, has been around for a very long time. That's connected to other companies. That's connected to other companies because most of these companies started from the money of slave money. We're gonna get it, player. We're gonna get it. Let's go.
Documentation to the Chicago Police Department as it relates to this?
For the welcoming city ordinance, we're happy to make sure that this body has that ordinance, and that policy has been around for 40 years.
Thank you very much. Mayor Wu, back to my line of questioning with Mayor Johnston and Johnston. Do you believe that if you are asking someone who's been charged with a crime, whether or not they're here in our country legally, is that a proper and beneficial thing to do?
The laws of Massachusetts and the Boston Trust Act help Boston police solve crimes. We do not ask for immigration status because it allows for people to trust that when they call 911, when they have information that might help bring justice to another family, that they feel comfortable sharing that.
Thank you. And Mayor Adams, in closing, obviously you know the police very well. Do you see a benefit in asking folks who've been charged with a crime whether or not they're a legal citizen?
Yes, I do.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Chair recognizes Ms. Green from Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for coming before our committee today. In the past 4 years, our nation has been invaded by millions and millions of people who have crossed our border. There's also millions of what's called known.
Okay, this is the lady that Jasmine Crockett got into. I think she said something about she was bad body built. But at least I could say that, you know, I don't know, Jasmine, your lashes and your weaves and stuff, I can't, you know, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? You ain't good for us, all right? But I know you wanted to go back and forth with this lady here. And, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's just unprofessional, the way you do things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to be hood. I know you're not hood. I know you're not from that life. You know what I'm saying? Your father was a preacher and all. So I know you're not from that life. But you try to portray that, and you do it in the most sacred places. Like, you're putting that, whatever that shit is, what they try to do is they try to associate that with black women. That behavior that you display, they associate that with black women. That's not the DNA, nor that is the proper behavior of black women. And all black women don't act like that. But that's what you put out there when you get on national television among these people. And instead of competing for things that black people need, you would much rather get up here and portray yourself as ghetto or portray yourself as something that you aren't. Let's go.
Gotaways. These are people that our government has no idea where they came from, who they are, what they're going to do in our country. And many of
and these are simple questions. Like I don't see this like as an administrator, it would be hard for you to ask this. But once again, that's why I can't get down with Democrats, because I don't understand and the thinking, you know. But then again, they're the same people that want, you know, they want to cut men's penises off and make them females, and they want to do vice versa for women. You know, they want to do this for kids at a very young age. Like I can't get down with that shit. I mean, you can say what you want. I mean, I mean, I would much rather see them talk about sending immigrants back, um, you know, U.S. aid and hear all this other shit than to be hearing about the only thing that Democrats talk about, and that's being gay, and that is immigration, abortion. What the fuck is that? Like, I mean, honestly, you honestly want me to consider this? Let's go.
These known gotaways could be criminals. They could be part of the narco cartels. They could be terrorists. We don't know who they are, and there's millions of them here. This country has also been the victim of fentanyl. This is a dangerous chemical that comes from China, is made into pressed pills in Mexico and Canada, and illegally distributed into our country by the cartels.
And then you want them people over here.
200 to 300 Americans die every single day from fentanyl. Not die, they're murdered. They're murdered. Americans have also been victims of all types of illegal alien crimes. One family in particular, Laken Riley's family, I know them personally, and her death was absolutely horrific. Jose Ibarra entered the United States illegally on September 8th, 2022, near El Paso, Texas, with his wife and son. He was detained by the U.S. Border Patrol, but soon released due to overcrowding at detention facilities. After his release, he was transported to New York City, arriving around September 15th, 2022. The following summer, he was arrested.
Okay, so we're gonna move forward just a little bit, try to, you know, for brevity, because you know the video doesn't go this long normally, but I just need to get this information out, and I need the people that do watch me, and you know, some people that may want to show it to some young people, they need to see this. They need to understand the topics. You know, a lot of times I see replies on Twitter where, you know, some black person will just be like, "Yeah, you niggas, you coon ass niggas, you love them Republicans, yeah." And you know, I'm just like, and so normally what my reply is, oh, so you're mad because you're not getting your gay rights? And when I come at them like that, it's like they don't really understand the topics, man. A lot of black people don't. They just go with what they see. So let's move on. Let's go.
Revolving door criminal justice systems like him to come out and hurt innocent people. I wish we would have had the power to prevent that from happening.
Mayor Adams, will you continue sanctuary city policies in your city?
That policy is by law. I do not make the law. I must operate within the confines of the Constitution and the law.
Mayor Adams, will you advocate to get rid of sanctuary city policies in the city of New York?
I have made it clear on a portion of the sanctuary city policies that I believe we need to alter to prevent crimes like this from taking place.
Federal law under 8 U.S.C. 1324 makes it a crime to knowingly harbor and shield illegal aliens from detection, but your cities refuse to work with ICE detainers to help them find these criminals. I'll go one at a time. Mayor Adams, will you work with ICE in New York City, yes or no?
ICE is part of our criminal justice apparatus, and I will work with my city, state, and federal agencies to keep our cities safe, no matter who they are.
Mayor Johnson, will you work with ICE to protect your city?
We do work with ICE right now, Congresswoman. When they send us information about someone they would like access to, we send them notice when and where we will release them, and they can pick them up. We've done that 1,226 times. We will keep doing it.
will you end sanctuary city policies?
We think the policies that we have right now allow us to work with ICE and to stop crime, and we'll keep doing that.
Mayor Johnson, will you work with ICE?
Our local law enforcement, Chicago Police Department, we work with federal agents on a variety of issues, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, getting guns off the street, and we will continue to work with federal
Will
agents.
you stop harboring illegal aliens? Will you end sanctuary city policies?
So the city of Chicago, we do not harbor
It's
criminals.
like he
We
can't
do not
answer
harbor
basic
undocumented
questions.
individuals. We comply with all laws.
Mayor Wu, will you work with ICE to protect Americans, legal Americans in your city, and end sanctuary policies?
The Boston Police work with ICE and federal agencies.
It's like somebody's lying.
Criminal matters and hold people who are committing crimes accountable.
Chairman, if I may, I'd like to enter for the record, according to the U.S. Constitution, giving aid and comfort to the enemies of the United States is an act of treason, and those that violate that should be
Without
held
objection,
accountable.
Like, whoa, you hear that? Act of treason. See? Like, this is serious shit. You start having these people go out here and thinking that, like I said, once again, let me tell you what the Democrats are to me. They're people that go off how they feel. If they feel like they like you, you have a place. If they don't like you, you're out of there. Okay? And if everybody's just the same, they're actually the people that are not inclusive. Okay? Everybody has to be kind of like acceptive to a certain feeling of something, you know, and then you're accepted. Like, they go off their feelings, not the law, not the rules and regulations. And so that's what we're dealing with. And now, yeah, you're talking about treason now because you guys decided to do what the fuck you wanted to do and not what the federal law was telling you. Who is in your ear so much that you're not going to follow the law?
Ordered. Gentlelady yields back. Chair recognizes Mr. LaHood from Illinois.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to wave on to this important committee hearing today. I want to thank the witnesses. I represent a district right outside of Chicago, the excerpts of Chicago representing Rockford, Bloomington Normal, Peoria. And I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having this hearing. It's past time that individuals like the mayors we have before us come before us and explain to the American people why you continue to fail to enforce the laws of our country and allow illegal immigrants to flood into our communities. And it's clear to me that sanctuary city policies have significantly harmed our once great cities, which is very, very unfortunate. During my time as an elected official, I have strongly condemned the policy around sanctuary cities and the impact it's had on the state of Illinois. And I believe every sensible resident in Illinois knows these policies have further harmed the economy in Illinois, increased crime throughout our state, and endangered hardworking, law-abiding Illinois citizens. I want to turn my attention to you, Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago. As I've watched you over the last 2 years that you've been mayor, I've been amazed at how tone deaf you have been and how oblivious you've been to the decline of Chicago. And I say that looking objectively at a number of things. Out of control crime in Chicago, people scared throughout neighborhoods on the west side, south side, north side. Morale has never been lower with law enforcement and CPD. Record number of police officers leaving the force. We have been hemorrhaging people out of the city of Chicago to the suburbs and elsewhere where they feel safe. Record number of businesses fleeing the city of Chicago. You couple that with record deficits, $2 billion deficit, the $2 billion deficit line of credit that you just had to take out this week. But you've spent $300 million of taxpayer money on illegal immigrants. And when I think about all of those things and I look at the strategy you continue to take, I mean, you're putting the interest of illegal immigrants above the interest of taxpayers in Chicago. But you continue to go down this path, and for the life of me, I can't understand it. So,
all right, let's go. Let's move forward. I think it's one other lady I wanted to. Yeah, this lady right here. I want to hear her. Not her, because she ain't talking about shit.
had shown to them by this country so that you could sit here and be a congressperson.
I'd just like to point out, and Mr. Chairman, if I could enter the Boston Trust Act into the record. Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. On page, or let's see, section 4AA, a law enforcement official and employment of the city department, agency, or commission shall not, and then A, inquire of an individual on his or her immigration status. Under Title 8, U.S. Code subsection 1373 stipulates that local governments cannot prohibit or restrict communication with federal immigration authorities regarding individuals' immigration status, so your enforcement of this act is in direct violation of that statute. Can you please confirm?
That is not
Thank
the
you,
truth.
ma'am. That's a U.S. code. I don't know about you, but U.S. code does not lie.
We do not ask about
Mayor
immigration
Johnson, I'm not
status, and that is
talking to you
what
anymore.
makes us
Next
safe as a
question,
city.
Mayor Johnston, you said in your testimony that the first step you took after illegal aliens arrived was to provide them with housing. Is that correct, yes or no?
Folks that were on the streets freezing to death, we gave access to shelter. Yes, we did.
Thank you. Not to be rude here, but you have a good understanding of what the definition of harboring is, correct?
I do.
Okay. For those that might not, harboring means to knowingly or recklessly provide shelter or place to stay for an illegal alien. And according to Title 8 of U.S. Code subsection 1324, that is also a federal crime. Just to be clear.
See, this is where we come to where, you know, there are people that are tried for crimes that are regular people. You know, when you get tried for a crime, you get tried for that crime, and they get paid off that crime, and everybody profits. But here go people that are committing crimes at large levels. That affects you. It affects your ability to get benefits. It affects your ability to get benefits from the system that you put money into. You know? White supremacists want you to think black people don't work and that we all just, you know, sit at home and we on Section 8. No, the only people that get Section 8 are women. Okay? And those women that are unfortunately on that system and stay on that system, that's about to change, but that'll be another video. And so let's finish.
Did you also say that you would be willing to go to jail to stop deportation efforts?
I did say that I'd be willing to stand up for all of our residents, and the context was that was the point at which the administration was threatening to deploy the U.S. military to streets of our cities to pull kids out of schools and churches,
Thank
so we
you.
were worried about that.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Chairman.
They're worried about pulling kids out of school and church. God bless the children. And I know the children didn't do anything wrong. But just like they do it to Americans, when Americans commit crimes and they have kids and children, they're separated from their children. And in these cases, they're saying that, okay, we'll just take the kid and we'll take the parent. I mean, you know, so that way there won't be any separation. That's still a concession. Like, but once again, we're still made to feel guilty for this. And that is the Democratic Party. Wants you to feel guilty for fuckery.
I'd like to enter into the record an article from CBS.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. In this, it says, Johnson said earlier this week that he's willing to use civil disobedience and, if necessary, going to jail to stop deportations. My final question would be for you, Mr. Mayor Johnson. Do you believe that Chicago's welcoming city ordinance encourages illegal aliens to enter the United States, specifically into Chicago? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
Think about it. That's the only question. That's what I'm saying. This guy is a liar, bro. That is the only question where he 100% answered with a yes, no. He didn't have any extra wording to go with it. He had nothing. It was nothing extra. It was just you sitting there. Oh, let's go. This is disgusting.
So you don't believe that banning the transfer of individuals into ICE custody for the purpose of civil immigration enforcement encourages illegal immigration into Chicago? Or how about agencies, sorry, one second, or agents not being able to stop, arrest, or detain individuals based solely on their immigration status or administrative warrant?
So we comply with all laws, local, state, and federal.
To me, after this line of questioning, it's very clear that these policies that you have all implicated are active and alive and well in your cities, are in direct violation with U.S. Title 8 Code subsection 1324 and is a federal offense. But you all speak about a broken immigration system, and yet here you guys are aiding and abetting in that entire process. I want to be very clear about something. Open border policies, which is something that you guys are talking about, hurts people on both sides, meaning the people that are coming here illegally and then American citizens as well. I do not think you guys are bad people, but I think that you are ideologically misled, which is why, unfortunately, based on your responses, I'm all going to be criminally referring you to the Department of Justice for investigation. And as soon as I leave here, these will be going over to Pam Bondi. I'm not doing that in an effort to bully you guys, but I do believe that your policies are hurting the American people, and you can make that known with the evidence that you can present to the Department of Justice. But if you guys continue doing what you're doing, you're not going to help anyone. You're going to hurt.
So pretty much that was the end of that. I mean, let's reflect. You know, normally my video isn't this long, and I apologize because I did stop a lot. I should have just turned the volume down, kept talking. But I'm trying to get better with this, especially with large scale data. You know, I put these Democratic warriors up here, right? I put these pictures up here because I want you to see the energy that they all put into this. Yeah, they got so much energy about everything that they do. But none of this energy is geared towards the betterment of foundational Black Americans. None of it. None of this energy is for the betterment of Black people in America. It's for everything other than you. It's for immigration. It's for Medicare. You know what I'm saying? They're not talking about anything that has anything to do with you. They're talking about gay rights, sexual assault. Like, they pick and choose what they want to talk about. But they have nothing to offer you, the Black people. And so as I come into closing, I want you, and once again, I provide this information for you to see that we have no friends. We are foundational Black Americans, and we are on code like never before. We see who the players are, and we see who the actors are like never before. Before, we would have looked at these people as like they were for us. Like Jasmine Crockett, she played Sister Girl all day. She could play Sister Girl all day and have nothing good to say for foundational Black Americans. I mean, she's gonna play that role for trans in Ukraine. That's what I said. Somebody's in their back. Somebody is telling them that just keep doing what you do. We're gonna take care of you, boo. That's what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. Remember, like. It doesn't cost anything to like, follow, and also subscribe. You are my reason to exist. I do this for my people. This is Black Views, bringing you the Black News. That's right. FBA all motherfucking day.